Before we start this lesson, I want you to picture this situation first. You're about to present and you've prepared everything in your slides. You rehearse your speech, but as you step onto the stage, your mind goes blank. You look around in disbelief and your voice starts to crackle. You stumble about and you don't know what to say. You're looking over at the audience, but they're looking straight at you and you don't find a single word to get you going again. But that carefully crafted speech just seems to have vanished. That's a very classic case of stress just taking over in a moment you don't want it. A scenario that is very familiar to a lot of people who are presenting at the start of their career. But what can we actually learn to deal with these kind of situations? That's the real question for this lesson. No matter what they say and what they might tell you, I promise you, like even the most seasoned speakers, they feel the effects of stress just before they walk up the stage. So physically, you might feel like your hands and your voice are shaking, like your heart rate is a little bit beating faster. Like this is a general alerted feeling in your throat and stomach. And when you're about to start your talk, that can go from just a few racing thoughts, like getting a little bit dizzy in your head, to just a complete blackout of what you're about to say. Of course, it's not funny in that moment, but these are typical responses to high stakes situations. Of course, added pressure of a whole audience in front of you can make things a little bit worse. So you might ask yourself, well, where does all of this come from? Simply put, it starts in here, quite literally. Stress in presentation often stems from one of our brain's primal responses, the fight or flight or freeze response. Is our body trying to cope with all these different triggers from the outside that are telling us something frightening is going to happen? Those alerted moments are your body trying to decide what to do next. This response actually is rooted in fear, and in this case, the fear of judgment, of not meeting expectations of what the audience came for. Are you going to be good enough? Are you going to be underprepared? Are we going to do a good enough job for the people who came over to listen to us? So think back to your last presentations. What kind of fear got the better of you in that instance? What I want you to take away from this lesson are some tips and techniques to prepare yourself for these kind of situations. So you'll know what to do when fate inevitably just catches up with you. I'm saying this with a smile, but I know how annoying it is when it happens. Trust me. It's probably one of the more unpopular answers I can give, but the key lays in practice. Throughout preparation and the rehearsal, you can really reduce the anxiety that's part of all of this because you'll just know what your content is going to be from A to Z. The more you practice, the more you get to iron out all the kinks and all the moments you feel and you know like this part is not up to par yet. From there, what else can you try? Before the actual presentation, you can first of all present this in front of some colleagues or friends who are able to give you constructive critique. So don't just go present this to a partner, your grandma. You want to have somebody who will tell you when you can improve things instead of just agreeing with everything that you're saying. So having some feedback helps you to reassure that you have enough skills and that you have enough effort, which will also reduce your anxiety in the first place. What we got from researching this topic is that a lot of great presenters also develop their own pre-presentation routine, like just a small ritual they perform to do before the presentation and to get into the flow. It could be a series of stretches, a particular song that you're listening to, or just a motivational speech you recite to yourself. It's just a routine that can help you put yourself in the right mindset and help you relax those nerves when they appear. When I have an important presentation, I always try to visualize the first few minutes, like the first 5, and it helps me having a really clear picture of what will happen when I start, and it provides me with an anchor when I feel some stress popping up. It's a little bit of dabbling into this and figuring out what works for you. Next up are some in-the-moment stress management techniques. We source this from professional presenters, and like I said, we're different people, different behaviors, different experiences. What will work for some won't work for others. So I'll just run through this list in a faster tempo. Feel free to go back to the ones that interest you and play them again, play them out, try them, feel what comes natural to you. Okay, here we go. First of all, focused breathing. It's a deep, controlled breath that can slow down your heart rate, and it just sends a signal to your brain to relax. Now to do this, try inhaling deeply at a count of 4, then holding for a count of 4, and then exhaling for a count of 4. Could be a really good technique to just bring that focus back in the moment. Secondly, I already said this in the last lesson, but pausing and just regaining your composure. It's a little bit similar to the breathing. So if you lose your train of thought and you feel a little bit overwhelmed, it's really acceptable to just take a pause. You can use this time to quickly glance at your notes if you have them close and refocus. Third of all, positive self-talk. Sometimes it helps to just simply remind yourself of your capabilities. Could be like a simple mantra of like, I am prepared, I am knowledgeable, I can do this. I am right here in the moment. Positive self-talk really helps to counteract some negative thoughts that might happen in those really stressful moments you come across. Fourth of all, a really good tip is to use water as a tool to focus again. Like if you keep a bottle of water close by, you can take a sip of water. It's a natural pause, but it also allows you to really think back, collect your thoughts, and then proceed from there. See each presentation as a learning opportunity and just try to focus on improving one skill with each talk you give. A quick last added bonus tip for the non-native speakers among us. As a Flemish person, I'm from Belgium. My native language is Dutch. I 100% understand that talking English can be, you might forget the words you need for your next sentence or feel like your pace is too slow. But having a native speaking friend or colleague maybe can actually help you with the pronunciation of some words and also grammar, so you can really improve really quickly. Also, what really helps is reading and listening to literature and to going to these cultural events, because it will help you use more local expressions. It also helps you gain a lot of vocabulary. All of this will make you feel probably a lot more fluent because you master the language a little bit more every time. So, do you remember that example that I gave you at the start? Given what we know now about stress management, how do we deal with that situation? Right? We're standing there, no clue what's happening next, and we feel the eyes of the audience burning on our shoulders. Well, first step, like we saw, is to just pause and take a deep breath. A simple act like this can help us reset our nervous system and just bring back the present moment. If you remind yourself that it's normal to feel nervous and that you're actually really well prepared, you can use a glass of water or something around to center yourself, take a really quick peek at your notes if you don't know what to say next, and jog your memory. You start up again with slow, deliberate introduction and use the initial moments to find your rhythm and pace again. Often when you start speaking, just the muscle memory and the familiarity of your rehearsed speech, it will come back to you. Your audience is there to learn from you. They're not there to judge you. And they're really likely to be sympathetic to the stress of a public speaking engagement. In our next session, we will dive into the differences between presenting in public and online and what that means for you as a presenter. But until then, I would say keep practicing and remember, it's okay to feel nervous. We're all in it together. See you there.